Welcome to Black Hole, Deep Insights, a channel dedicated to exploring the world's greatest wonders, strangest secrets, and most curious truths. Here, we don't just give you information, we take you on a journey through the unknown. So if you're someone who asks, why, how, or what else is hidden, you're in the right place. Now, let's begin. Episode 2. The Dawn of Civilization, Secrets of Ancient Sumer. In our last journey, we traveled to a forgotten hill in southeastern Turkey, Göbekli Tepe, where ancient hands carved pillars of stone over 11,000 years ago. It was a place older than the pyramids, older than the idea of farming itself. There, humanity took its first spiritual breath, building a temple before even building a village. That was the beginning, the birth of human consciousness, the first whisper of civilization. But today, we take the next step in that long and winding journey, from tribes to cities, from prayers to politics, from hunters to humans. This is episode 2 of our documentary series, World's Lost Civilizations, a series that uncovers the forgotten roots of our world, one civilization at a time, and explores how every rise, every fall, shaped the destiny of humankind. From the sacred stones of Göbekli Tepe, we move a few thousand years forward to a land between two ancient rivers, a land that became the cradle of civilization, the place where humans learned to write, to build cities, to study the stars, and to question the gods. Welcome to ancient Mesopotamia. Welcome to Sumer, the world's first great civilization. Imagine standing under a blazing sun, surrounded by endless plains of golden sand and green riverbanks. Two mighty rivers, the Tigris and the Euphrates, snake across the landscape like twin lifelines in a sea of desert. Here, between them, civilization first took root. On today's political map, this ancient land lies mostly in southern Iraq, extending into parts of northeastern Syria, southeastern Turkey, and southwestern Iran. The ruins of Uruk, the city of kings, rest near modern-day Warqa, Iraq. Ur, the city of Abraham, lies near Nasiriyah, and Eridu, one of humanity's oldest settlements, lies just southwest of it. All these cities sit in Iraq's Dhikar province, close to the Persian Gulf. Thousands of years ago, this gulf stretched far inland, touching the very edges of Sumer cities. Ships made of reeds and bitumen once sailed over what is now dry land. On the physical map, this region is part of the Fertile Crescent, an arc of life curving through Iraq, Syria, Turkey, and Egypt, the very womb of civilization. The soil here, renewed by floods every year, was so fertile that it turned dry desert into paradise. But paradise came with a price. When the rivers flooded too much, destruction followed. When they didn't, drought and famine haunted the people. This delicate dance between creation and chaos shaped the destiny of the Sumerians. Around 4500 BCE, in this fertile land, the first cities of humanity began to rise: Eridu, Uruk, Ur, Lagash, and Kish. Each city was its own small kingdom, ruled by a priest or a king, surrounded by temples, farms, and clay houses. Together, these city-states formed Sumer, the dawn of organized civilization. Uruk, founded around 4500 BCE, became the largest and most influential. Its population reached nearly 80,000 people, at a time when most of the world still wandered in tribes. Here, humans built the first monumental temples, ziggurats, massive step towers reaching toward heaven. They invented the wheel, the plow, and most importantly, writing. Cuneiform, wedge-shaped marks pressed into clay, became the world's first written script. With it, history began to be recorded. Trade records, laws, stories, and prayers all captured in hardened clay. Among these, we find the Epic of Gilgamesh, humanity's first great literary masterpiece, a story of kings, gods, and the eternal search for immortality. But behind these achievements lay something deeper, the daily rhythm of life in Sumer. The people of Sumer were the first to master farming. They built irrigation canals to bring water from the rivers to their fields. Every season was a cycle of sowing, harvesting, and worshiping the gods who controlled the floods. Their diet was simple, yet rich. They grew barley, wheat, and dates, turning them into flatbreads, porridge, and beer, their most common drink. Beer wasn't just for pleasure, it was safer than river water, and even used as wages for workers. They also cultivated lentils, chickpeas, garlic, leeks, and cucumbers, while fishermen brought carp and catfish from the rivers. Shepherds tended flocks of sheep and goats, providing milk, butter, and cheese. Archaeologists have found Sumerian recipe tablets, the oldest cookbooks in human history. One of them describes a lamb stew flavored with garlic, herbs, and beer broth, proof that even 5,000 years ago, humans sought comfort in flavor. Families lived in clay brick houses, often around courtyards. Men worked in fields or workshops, women managed homes and temples, and children learned crafts by watching their elders. But Sumer wasn't just a civilization of survival. It was a civilization of soul. The Sumerians believed that every force of nature was a god. The wind, the rivers, the sun. Their chief gods were Anu, the god of the sky, Enlil, the god of air and storms, Inanna, the goddess of love and war, and Enki, the god of water and wisdom. Each city had a ziggurat, a sacred temple built like a stairway to heaven. Priests climbed to the top to watch the stars, believing they were the eyes of the gods. These early astronomers divided the circle into 360 degrees and the hour into 60 minutes, a system we still use today. The ziggurat of Ur, whose ruins still stand in Iraq, was one of the most magnificent, its base as large as a football field, its top rising nearly 30 meters high. Religion shaped every part of life. Farmers prayed for rain, traders for fortune, and kings for divine approval. In art, they carved wide-eyed statues of worshippers, hands clasped, forever gazing toward their gods. And deep beneath the sands of Ur, archaeologists uncovered the royal tombs, filled with gold, weapons, jewelry, and even sacrificed servants. Death was not the end, they believed. It was a journey to continue serving the gods beyond life. Sumer wasn't an isolated land. It traded far and wide. From the mountains of Iran came stones and metals. From the Arabian deserts came copper and rare woods. And along the rivers, reed boats carried goods to distant lands. But prosperity brought competition. City fought against city. Ur against Lagash, Kish against Uruk, each trying to rule the fertile plains. Around 2334 BCE, Sargon of Akkad conquered Sumer and created the world's first empire. Though the Sumerians were absorbed by Akkad, their language and culture continued to shape Mesopotamia for centuries. Later civilizations, the Babylonians, Assyrians, and Persians, all stood on the shoulders of Sumer. As the centuries passed, the rivers changed their course. Fields turned to salt and dust. Wars drained the cities of strength. By 1900 BCE, Sumer's glory had faded. But their ideas, writing, law, astronomy, architecture, became the blueprint of human progress. Every book we read, every contract we sign, every hour we measure, echoes the inventions of Sumer. And perhaps their greatest lesson is this: civilization is fragile. It begins not with power, but with cooperation, belief, and imagination. And it ends when those are lost. As the sands of Iraq cover their ancient cities, the story of Sumer whispers through time, reminding us that even the first to rise were the first to fall. From Göbekli Tepe's temple to Sumer's city walls, humanity had learned how to dream, and how to build those dreams from mud and stone. But in the far east of the world, another civilization was rising. A land of great rivers, silent cities, and mysterious seals. A civilization that lived in peace, perfected urban life, and then vanished without war. In our next episode, we travel to the Indus Valley, the lost land of Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro, the third chapter of humanity's forgotten story.